Hey, you're back in the garage with TheEZGZ. Today I'm going to make a video, short, probably not satisfy some of you, but it's about CV joints and IRS transmissions. I just recently experienced something and I fixed the problem, but I'm going to show you and explain to you what the problem was. I have this 69 Volkswagen sedan that was made into a Baja before I got it, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And it's had a lot of work done on it, and it's led a hard life, and it gets driven every single day unless something crazy happens. So recently, and those of you that know me know I have a hearing problem. And I'm too stupid to go and get hearing aids, I guess. I don't know. But this is the oil that was in the transmission. And I don't know in the sunlight if you can see some of those flecks in there, which is kind of a side point. And you see that foam that was there? I drained my transmission into this pan after limping home. I didn't know whether I was going to make it home. I was about 3 or 4 miles from home, and I have noticed for a long time a growling noise, and I can't quite tell you where it was. It felt like and sounded like and seemed to me that it was the right rear of the car, and I could hear this popping and snapping. And I have this little box that I made to put in place of the back seat here, and the top isn't even on a hinge. It just sits up there loose, and I put some foam underneath it, and sometimes I remember to put some stuff. But that's one of the good things about not being able to hear. There's a lot of things that drive other people crazy. Like, for example, if you use urethane bushings and they squeak all the time, they squeak less or not at all if you're hard of hearing like me. So anyhow, this thing was actually popping and making some strange noises, and I thought, well, maybe it has something to do, you know, I told you I replaced the axle bearings a year or two ago. I can't even remember. I can't remember if I made a video on it, but I decided that I had a spare axle, and I was going to try putting a different axle, but I didn't have one with the sedan CVs. Actually, I do, but I'm working on this project here. Yeah, it still isn't done. Things keep popping up and getting in the way. So the scenario here, the end result was, when I went to take, now this is not the same transmission that's in the car, okay? There's a seal that's right here. You've got a seal that goes around it in the side cover, and you've got a seal right here. This is splined. You can change these flanges if you have a problem or break one or something bad happens. But at any rate, this had one of the new style white Teflon seals. Now, typically if you're doing tranny work, you would pry those out, and I've always tried to be very careful with a pick so that I can reuse them and not puncture them or anything like that. But I had problems evidently with this transmission, and I put in the aftermarket seal, and it had popped out. Transmission fluid had been going into the CV and into the boot area and running down the axle shaft, and it was making a real mess. And I didn't really notice it on the ground. I thought possibly it was the flywheel seal, the rear or front main, however you want to call it, on the transmission. But as it turned out, it wasn't that. And this box here was all, this heater box was all grungy and stuff, and you can see my CV boots, And I want you to note that I have gone up a notch. I did that thinking, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to have myself an off-road vehicle here. And just having these taller tires is probably enough. And what happens if you wind up your torsion bar so it's stiffer and lifts it, you will get an aggravating click, bang, when you go over rocks and curbs and maybe even a bad manhole depression or something. So just bear in mind what I'm telling you about that, because it's just aggravation, and it creates a steeper angle, so your CV joint has to work harder. So I didn't know what was going on. I decided to take the CV joint apart, and I looked at all the balls, and I didn't see any really deep chips or gouges. One of them was kind of I don't know. It wasn't discolored from heat, and the cage was not destroyed, and the balls fit fairly snug. And if you look at the inner axle, well, there you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Maybe if I get it in the sun, you can see where the wear point was, see? And I mean, this is it's someplace on it. See, it's got the VW stamp over here by my thumb. This is an old one. This is OEM type of stuff. And you're just looking for rub marks and wear. Okay? You're just kind of trying to be aware of that. And I'm looking for a chip or something. I didn't see too much of that. And I thought, well, you know, see, that's not really pretty as much as I'd like. I'd expect it to be a little more polished. You'll forgive me for not having a whole beautiful demonstration. There's a wear mark, but this is probably, I'm assuming, from not having perfectly balanced wheels and driving it all the time and not really paying attention to my transmission fluid level. If I don't have spots on the ground, and I always check that stuff. So on further inspection, I'm looking over here at this one, and not only can you see the wear spot, but I can feel it with my finger, and that's a bad thing. And if I don't know if the camera would have picked it up, but I decided, because of this little, because I could feel it, I think because it didn't have the proper CV grease, and because the used old 90 weight transmission oil had washed that stuff out of the way, and you know what a mess transmission oil was like. That's what was creating the sound, and I know that because I changed my transmission oil. There, you can really see it. I hope that's coming out. But something that small. So if you're doing some CV maintenance, which I know all of you, that's probably the favorite thing to do on a car, is finding the dirt in your clogged carburetor, idle jets or whatever, because your car's not running right, and working on CVs. I mean, those are probably in the top 5 things I like to do on my free time. Yeah. So at any rate, I'm glad that I changed this 50-year-old CV out for another 50-year-old CV that didn't have that type of a wear. So just letting you guys know, a little IRS suspension CV joint. Now if you have a bus transmission, somebody might be saying, well, if you're running this stuff hard off-road, why don't you go to a bus tranny, or go with bus CVs, or you can get bigger stub axles, and you can get different flanges that go into a sedan transmission. The aftermarket has addressed this, and you get heavier duty cage, more articulation. It's just strong all the way around, okay? Now the axle that I was using was not a stock axle. It was a aftermarket MP long spline axle, and I only used the snap ring on the end because I have taken some bad hits when off-roading in another vehicle and broke the CV, and it was because I reached the limit of the travel, and that's what happens. You're just hitting it with a hammer, and it broke my CV and I was stranded. I didn't have a spare axle. So for years I carried a spare axle with the ends bagged, ready to drop in, because you don't, just like this situation, it just happened suddenly. And here is a stock axle and CV setup. These have short, these are standard splines. They're the same spline as the CV. So I use a longer spline. I put the snap ring on the end, and boy are those fun getting off sometimes, because they're under tension because of this concave washer right here. And that's all the way. It's designed to do that, and it's designed to last a very long time with minimal attention. They don't provide zerks or any of that stuff. Typically what will happen is your boot will get rotted, and you'll get water and contamination inside there, and it leads to destruction of your CV. And if you don't pay attention to new noises that you hear, if you have a front-wheel drive car and you're testing it, they'll say, you know, do a hard left, circle, as tight a circle as you can, and listen for a popping, clicking sound. That can be a sign of a CV going bad. And same thing, right turn for the other side, because the outside wheel turns more than the inside wheel, and you just want to simulate different load conditions. So I just want to make a quick video. I don't like this CV grease. I bought this. It's synthetic blend, Durablend, Valvoline, and it says disc brake, wheel bearings, chassis, CV joints there on the very bottom. I hate this stuff. It gets into your skin and it seems to fling out. It thins down. I did not measure the temperature. And you guys that are real anal about keeping your car clean and go to the car wash, you know, you might have just a small crack. You might be doing more harm than good by blasting these things with a high pressure car wash if you have one at home, or go to the pay one. So I'm just giving you a heads up and showing you my personal experience. I hope this helps somebody. Have a great day. I am just way behind. I can't seem to get anything done completely because something else comes up. And in a future video, I'll show you what came up right here to haul my cars. And I did put my Baja with the large tires. It cleared, it went in the back. And so it's a toy hauler and a little living space. And I think it'll keep my girls comfortable when I have to leave the dog and out on the trail, and gets my car, avoiding me getting the double ball setup that I've done for 2 years. I've drug the Baja behind this trailer, and I'm really limited to how fast I can go. And it's legal in my state, Colorado and Wyoming. I've passed plenty of police cars and have them pass me, and I just use a standard tow bar, but hopefully that'll go away and I can get back on the project at hand. Getting ready for paint here, so stay tuned for all of that. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. TheEZGZ out. I got over 800 videos posted on my site. much of it on Volkswagen. So if you like this video, check some of that stuff out. Take care. Have a great day.